accommodations given. We were not allowed to talk to them unless they, summoned us in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it was quite frightening, and they threatened us to deport us, so we could never come back to the U.S.
But as I was trying to find it, 2 schools of dolphins swam under and over me,
and pilot whales.
Pilot whales.
Oh yeah.
So that was definitely memorable. I mean, they've been hospitable in every single country. We're now in Costa Rica, and just last weekend we went to go and wild camp on a beach because it's relatively safe to do so in Costa Rica, and it's allowed. And then this guy pulls up on his bike and he's like, hey, I just live there. I have water, electricity, Wi-Fi. Why don't you just park on my property? There's always time for a ribeye steak.
Listening to the GHT Overland podcast.
What's your favorite cut of meat, Lisa?
Ribeye.
Do you want to think about that at all?
Nope.
Nice. I'm impressed.
And what's yours?
Well, I have a secret fantasy.
Excuse me?
Well, let me finish. Of a Wagyu ribeye.
Ooh.
Not in a restaurant. Me want to cook the meat myself.
Ah, channeling your inner caveman.
I guess. It seemed natural. We're talking about meat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how many months is 1,000 days?
I don't know. Hey Siri. What's 1,000 divided by 30?
1,000 divided by 30 is approximately 33.3333.
Oh, wouldn't you know it, 33.33333 forever. So, Lisa, if our little shakedown trip from Oregon to Colorado through Utah, Arizona, Nevada, California, then back up 101 to Portland was 2.5 months, we'd still have 31 more months to get to 1,000 days. Is that like 2.5 years?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so here's a little brain explosion for you. Imagine if everything we experienced in those 2.5 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then times that by 13.332 and boom, 33.3333333.
Yep, my brain exploded.
And I do have to admit, I don't want anybody thinking that I'm a math whiz because I am not. I did pre-figure out that math just to be fair. So this week, we have the privilege of talking with Richie and Abigail, who have done it 1,000 plus days on the road, including a 2-day stop in jail they did not collect $200 for.
Nope, they did not.
Fortunately for us, they kindly carved out some time as they visit with family in Costa Rica to share their experience and hard-earned knowledge and accomplishments as overland travelers with their daughter Zoe. Their overland story started about 5 years ago in Switzerland when Richie, who was a full-time truck driver and part-time photographer, good skill to have if you're going to do a trip like this, had the crazy idea of driving around the world. On October 5th, 2019, with a 7-month-old baby, 5 suitcases, and a one-way ticket to Phoenix, Arizona, they said goodbye to friends and family at the Zurich airport. That, my friends, took tenacity. And I'm so happy. Here's another story of somebody that had a dream, had an idea. They executed. They did it. 2.5 years later, they have been through the U.S., Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica. I love these interviews, so let's jump into the interview and fill in all the gaps, learning from their plethora of experience. A totally frightening U.S.-Mexico border story smoothed out by a few good ribeyes.
Be sure to tag us on the social medias so we can see what kind of awesomeness you're up to. Hashtag GHT Overland. This episode is brought to you by GHT Overland. Please keep in mind we'd love your support. Keeping all the algorithm spirits happy is kind of necessary. So if you wouldn't mind, at minimum, Level 1 Love is taking a second to leave a rating on iTunes or the podcast platform you listen on. Anything from a short little I like it to whatever you're feeling. Without constant love from you, we're just sludge at the bottom of a lost cold coffee cup. Level 2 Love is found on GHToverland.com. This is where we maintain a list of recommended apps, books, and gear. Thank you to everyone who has used these links. This also helps us earn a commission, costing you nothing extra. Level 3 Love is on Patreon. This is your opportunity to support the GHT Overland podcast with monthly little thank yous that help us pay web hosting fees, podcast hosting, and all the things that keep the podcast growing and improving. This is also how you get your hands on some sweet swag. Thank you for joining us as we pursue a renewed life mission of putting the best in people and nature on display, while tackling the ugly Goliath of today by consistently placing positivity and respect for others in front of everything else.
Richie and Abigail, thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the GHT Overland podcast.
Thank you.
All the way from, where are you guys at?
We are in
Punta Uva.
in Costa Rica, right on the border of Panama, actually.
Yep, on the Caribbean side.
Oh,
on
cool.
beach.
Like, what's the weather? Is it hot there, humid? What's going on?
Oh, yeah. It's very hot and humid, about 30, 32 degrees. But it's all right. Whenever it gets too hot, we're just jumping right into the sea. And now we even have a pool because my sister is visiting from Switzerland, and we are
fun.
in an Airbnb, believe it or not.
Oh, fun, which is the reason that we caught you. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
You guys are known as Meat Around the World. Where did that come from?
Well, it's a play with words, and it's because we're meat lovers, and we love to meet people. So, yeah,
That's awesome.
meet around the world.
Yeah, well, you're a good company.
It's actually how we do meet people a lot. We sort of just put some meat on the grill and invite people to come share with us. It's a good sort of icebreaker, obviously, if you're not vegetarian.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well,
and so
I won't be shy at all if you have meat on the grill.
Great. It always smells good around our camp.
That's super cool. And then you guys just surpassed 100 days traveling full time. Is that right?
It's actually 1,000.
Yes, it's actually 1,000. So
1,000. Well, just to add a zero.
Yes. Yeah, we hit the road October 19, and
we've enjoyed the pandemic. Didn't stop us.
No, Abigail went back to England for 2 weeks last November with Zoe, our daughter. But I stayed in Mexico, so I've never been back. Yeah,
this is the first time we're seeing Richie's family actually after 2.5 years. So.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. Well, that's really nice then. So 1,000 days, when I can't do the math real quick in my head. Like, when is it that you guys hit the road full time?
20th of October, 2019.
And isn't it funny how we remember those exact dates?
I know.
Oh.
Something worth celebrating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
super
started
cool.
off in the US. We're from Switzerland and England, so we started off in Phoenix. That's where we bought our truck camper, who we named Silver Skin. And we ended up spending 17 months in the US before we entered Mexico and Central America.
Okay, awesome. So you flew into the U.S., you bought your truck and truck camper and then you started your full time within the U.S. Like in the U.S., where did you guys spend the most amount of time?
Probably Arizona, right?
Well, we did 50,000 kilometers, about 30,000 miles, all in all. So we have good friends in Phoenix, Arizona. So that's where we kitted out the vehicle before we hit the road.
Okay.
And then we drove from Phoenix through, the first attraction was Grand Canyon. And but then we went to New Mexico because it was October. It got cooler and colder. And then we just drove through New Mexico, Texas, through the south to Florida. And then we spent like 3 months in Florida. And in March, 1st of March, we went to Georgia. And that's basically when the pandemic hit and things got a little, strange, and campgrounds shut down. And but we had friends in Virginia, so we spent some time in Virginia, and then we went to Ohio to some other friends we met in Florida. They had a ranch, and we spent like 2 weeks at their ranch, which was fantastic. And then we decided to go out west and spend summer in like the West, right? Like South Dakota, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, all those wonderful states, and we had a wonderful time.
Yeah, we felt that was where most of the BLM land was, as it was quite hard to find camping east. We had originally wanted to go to New York and all up East Canada, but obviously everything was still shut down. So
yeah, we never made it to Canada. So
unfortunately, in Alaska,
okay.
that was things change, as we know.
And so, where is it that you call home?
Now, if you ask me this now, it's our truck camper.
But we're from Europe, so I'm originally from England,
and I'm from Switzerland.
And that's where we lived for 7 years before we started this trip. So Zoe, our now 3-year-old daughter, was born in Switzerland.
Okay, cool. So what inspired this kind of travel for you?
Well, it was a dream of mine. Of course, I watched A Long Way Round with Ewan McGregor and Charlie Boorman like many years ago, and I thought to myself, one day I'm going to do something like that. So, I mean, we traveled a lot anyway in our lives, and we met in New Zealand. Abigail was living in New Zealand at the time, and I was traveling, and we met. A year later, we got married in London. She moved to Switzerland, and every year we went on about a 3-4 week vacation to the U.S. or the Caribbean, or, we traveled a lot. And it was one of those flights home, I believe it was from Hawaii, when I said to Abigail, well, actually, I don't want to go home. I would like to continue the travel and not go home now.
And he could not stop going on. When Richie has an idea in his head, it turns into an obsession. And he would bang on about it for 3 months. And then I just sort of said to him, look, I have a dream too. I'd like to try for a baby. Can we not do both? And here we are.
3 years later, we hit the road with a baby.
Zoe was 7 months when we started, and we made it happen.
Oh, that's awesome. So let's go over your truck a little bit, if you would. Can you give us some details on both the truck and the camper, just kind of at the 30,000 foot level?
Sure. The truck is a Dodge Ram 3500 Cummins diesel 5.9. The year is 2005, the model. And the camper is a Camp Light model of make, and from the year 2014. And it's an all-aluminum camper, but it's about 8.6 feet. I think that's the measurement, yeah. So, 4x4. What else? We called it Silver Skin.
You want to explain that?
Another play on words?
Yeah, so Silver Skin, why Silver Skin? Because we're meet around the world, and the truck is tough, and it's the color is silver. So
And that's part of the meat as well.
Yes.
That's really cool. So you've got silver skin, and then have you like settled into like a daily or a weekly routine of things that you find that works for you?
Well, luckily we've left the daily routines, but of course, yeah, we have a bit of a. On a normal day, we'd have a lazy morning. We get up, sort ourselves out with breakfast. Abigail and Zoe a little sooner than I, and then we play a little wherever we are on the beach, or just explore a little. Maybe I work a little on a video or some photos, and towards like 12 o'clock, noon, or 1 on driving days, we hit the road and time it with Zoe's naps. She still naps in the day, so that makes for a good drive. And we drive a few hours, and then we find camp in the evening. And
so we that's kind of like our daily rhythm. We would, however, not say no to an invitation.
Never.
Unless our visa is about to expire. If somebody wants to take us out fishing, then of course.
Exactly. We don't have fixed plans. So if we pack up and 5 minutes before we hit the road, somebody pulls up and says, "Hey, how about going fishing on the boat with me?" Then we would totally go fishing.
Yeah. We like to be flexible. We're not like, oh, we have to get camp for free.
No.
We're sort of yes people. That's why we travel so slow.
No, that's good.
We meet
that's
too
really
many
good.
people.
Yeah. So we don't have a real schedule or plan. We have a visa that runs out, and that's the deadline.
Okay, cool. So we tend to call them, we've referred to them now as town days for getting like groceries and laundry. But do you guys do something similar where you have like a day that you go into town, get groceries, maybe do some laundry, get a shower? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, we call them errand days, and they take a long time. They take up so much time, don't they? So we can't really run errands on a day where we're going to go off and drive, because especially in Central America, things take time. Laundry throughout Central America, usually handed in to someone at a laundromat. You can't do it yourself, and it sometimes takes overnight for them to return it back to you. So you sort of have to plan for that. Yeah, and shopping. We love to shop, obviously, because we love cooking. So that takes a while, doesn't it? But we'll just go to a supermarket. Across Central America, they have some really good supermarkets.
Oh, yeah. But sometimes you can't run all your errands in one day, so you just might do washing today and maybe go grocery shopping, and then the next day you'll go and find water, and there's always some errands to run, but
And propane.
Sometimes you need propane. That could take a while. Just the other day we had to wait about an hour. Just to get propane, and things don't really. I mean, in America, I remember that was like, as you said, a town day or an errand day. We just did everything in one day, and then drove into the desert again for a week.
Super efficient, but here it takes a bit longer.
It takes a little longer here. Yeah,
interesting.
Exactly.
But
Okay.
we find Overland are a really good source for that. We're just looking at the icons there, like for propane.
Oh yeah.
Where to fill water. So.
Oh yeah. But sometimes I like to go to different butcher shops and do a little bit of research, and then we drive. If we're in a bigger town, and we drive, from one end to the other, just to get all the food and the meat, and that takes a long time. But I enjoy it.
One day dedicated just for meat.
Well, you got to have your priorities in line.
Yeah, there you go.
Is there anything that you guys consider, whether it be in your camper, your vehicle, or on it, that is absolutely indispensable?
Oh, yeah. Well, for me, it's the grill, my barbecue.
How did I know that was going to be the answer?
Pretty simple, right? And for me, I'm very thankful for the toilet. I'm not one that can go in the bush very easily. So it's good to just pull over if we're on a highway and just climb into the back and do my business.
Do you guys use, is it like a cassette toilet that you use, or does it have like a black tank? I'm not sure what the setup is in that camper.
Yeah, we still have a black tank, and
Okay.
just
we're kitted out with a shower as well, like a
nice.
wet room in there.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got the luxuries.
So that works out pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then, Richie, on the grill, if I saw it right, I think you've got like a full box built onto the back of the camper, dedicated
Yes.
to that grill and everything you need to do your barbecuing, right?
Oh yeah, I have all the gear in that black box in the back. So what's in there? It's my grill. There is a few griddles. There is a shovel. There is a Dutch oven, and everything grill.
Did you install that on the back of the camper? Like, how much does that weigh?
Oh yeah, I installed it myself. Yeah, I just I think it was in the I bought it off Amazon, and I remember on a parking lot of Home Depot, I fixed it onto the camper.
Good old Home Depot.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
Overnight there, get it all done.
yeah.
Okay, very cool. So, like, on the opposite end of that, what's an example of something that you originally packed and took with you, absolutely convinced that you needed it desperately, and then you never ended up using it?
Okay, well, thought about that. There's a few things, of course, that we along the way gave away, like little things. But I wanted to say the water filter. We had it wasn't a lifesaver, but it was a similar product. Water can, like 5 gallons with a filter. But we never used it, and it broke, and I had it replaced. It was still under warranty because it was an expensive jug. But anyway, we never used it, so it broke again without us using it ever. So I figured that would be something I would not take along. Although many people say that's essential, but if you think about it, everywhere where there's people, there is drinking water. So we never had a problem getting drinking water ever. So yeah.
In Mexico, there are many, they call them agua purificados. They're everywhere, where you can just go fill your tank with your hose, and it's all filtered. And
here in Costa Rica, you can drink from the faucet. It's drinking water pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, it's nice to go and turn the tap on again.
Yes.
And it's just take your glass.
Isn't it?
Yeah, but
yeah,
it is.
How much water can you guys hold in your tank?
About 40 gallons.
Oh wow,
We
so
actually
quite a
got
bit.
we actually got a custom-made water tank.
Yes, well, the old one broke somewhere in Tennessee, and so I had to. I drew a blueprint and sent it to my buddy in Phoenix, and he knew a guy that does plastic welding and tanks and all. So he fixed a new tank for us, shipped it over to Virginia, and I installed it in Ohio with the help of a friend. And now we have a bigger water tank, which is perfect. Yeah.
It's super cool. How long does that 40 gallons tend to last you?
About a week, right?
Well, we can make it a week, but it is
That's if we're being tight.
Yeah.
But we do fill up bottles as well for
drinking water. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So about a week. We can go about a week if we are careful with washing up and a week.
Yeah.
Do you, besides where you find it on iOverlander, and Costa Rica is obviously going to be a little bit different, like what are your tips to people to be able to find potable water to fill their tank up?
Well, iOverlander is a source, or we look on Google Maps in wherever town we are. There's an agua purificada or something.
Like a water station.
You can.
We actually in Nicaragua went to.
In Nicaragua we even went to the fire department, knocked on their door.
No kidding.
Five people came out, and then they rolled out the big hose, and we filled our tent with their water
In record time.
Flooding on the road.
Yeah, it was fun, and they got it right off the hydrant, and the whole town was kind of surrounding us, and then we took pictures with all the firemen. It was funny.
Yeah,
it was fun. Yeah,
they were lovely, and they had a little peek in our camper.
Oh yeah. So
I think it broke their day a little bit because they were just chilling out.
Yeah, and it was for free, so they
That's
were more
awesome.
than happy to give us water. And yeah, no, there's options. Sometimes we even in Nicaragua we went to some city water facility and they gave us water. And no, there's many.
As Richie said, where there's people, there's always
water. Yeah, and they would sell it. I remember in Guatemala we quite often pulled over at some little tiendas, little shops, and they would always sell those 20-liter jugs with drinking water. So yeah, it's everywhere.
Okay, cool. Can you give us some insights on your electrical system? What kind of either solar or batteries you're using?
Okay, it's 2 solar panels. That makes 350 watts. And then we have 2 deep cycle batteries, 6-volt golf cart batteries, and then 1,750 watt inverter. And that works quite well for us. If the sun is shining, like every other day, we have never run out of power, and we can go actually a long time.
Yeah, we don't need it so much, do we? Because our fridge runs off propane.
Exactly. We do not use electricity for cooking or fridge or anything.
Really more for our device.
Well, yeah, we have 2 fridges, but one fridge, runs off the 12 volt. But anyway, we only charge the computer and the camera batteries, and that's probably what draws the most power. But yeah, it works fine for us. It's not much, but it's good.
So if you've got 2 6-volt batteries, do you know how many amp hours you've got?
No, I'm when it comes to power, that's about all I can tell you about our electrical
That's good.
system. It works.
No, that's fine. But it works for you and you don't have any problems. Yeah, that's good.
No, I even installed the second solar panel myself, but that's about as far as it gets with me and power and electricity.
Copy that. Okay.
Now that we know you have 2 refrigerators, any tips on refrigeration or space requirements?
Well, maybe you want to tell us where the fridge is installed, the second one.
Okay, we have the ordinary camper RV fridge with a little freezer compartment. Yeah, and that runs most of the time off propane, unless we plug in to a power outlet. And we have a Engel compressor fridge in the truck. So I pulled out the middle seat in the front, and I put the fridge there. So it serves as a fridge for cool drinks during the drive and as an armrest.
And sometimes Zoe sits on top of it.
Yeah. So we keep the drinks in the front in the Engel, and everything else goes in the back. Sometimes I would also put the meat in the front because that Engel fridge is just it's better. And when we're in a very hot climate, the Engel fridge is just better. It's cooler.
And you also ripped up a seat in the back. So we have 3 seats in the back, and you also removed a seat for a box for extra storage.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I keep the camera gear.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So with 2 fridges, no challenges keeping perishable foods cold then?
Yeah, we always have cold drinks, and everything is fine. I wish we had a bigger freezer, because then we could store a little more meat. You see, in countries like Mexico, it could take a while before you get a good supermarket or butcher store where you can buy good meat. So I like to stock up when I can, and then But yeah, we make it work. I think we have.
Unfortunately, as you know, the meat takes priority, so I don't have any space for my ice cream. That would be nice.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
What do you guys do for, well, of course, you're not worried about heat currently, but do you have AC? And when you're in a colder climate, how are you set up for heating?
Yeah, well, we do have a AC installed, like an American one, but that only takes power from when we're plugged in. So we don't use that so much, but we have the fantastic fan. I don't know whether you know that brand, which is fitted into the window.
Yep.
So that works.
Fitted into the roof. Yeah, I installed that, and that works well. And we have a couple extra fans to keep us cool in the night.
Sorry, the camping store, which takes the USB. So that's quite nice. So you can take it outside with you as well when you're reading.
Yeah, it's all about the airflow, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But with the heating, we've got quite a few options, right, Richie?
Yes, we have the original propane heater, but that guzzles up too much propane. So I installed a diesel heater, a cheap Chinese diesel heater, and that works works really well. So we use that if we have to, and if we're plugged into to power, we can use a little electric heater. So yeah, we have a few options.
Options are good. What about recovery gear? Do you have any with you? Do you tend to use it often?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we have max tracks. We have tow ropes, bow shackles, shovel, a saw. Yeah, we have a few tools, and we do use it.
Usually for other people.
Sometimes for other people too. Yeah, of course.
Help pull them out with the tow rope.
But we used our max tracks once, but without them we would have had a problem.
That was the day we were leaving for Mexico.
Yes. So
we were stuck in the sand in a desert in California.
Yeah.
And that saved the day.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's nice not to still be stuck in Mexico sand.
That is true.
Was it California or Mexico?
California.
It was
California.
Yeah, California.
Oh, Lisa was right again. So who's the navigator in the group? Who's in charge of all the navigation, where you're going and how you're getting there?
Well, we're not very good planners, are we? We just tend to... Sometimes we get into the car and we're like, oh, where are we going?
Well, most days.
Yeah. Like Richie said earlier, we have our time limits with our visas, and we sort of go with the flow. Plans tend to change due to people we meet. They say, oh, go there instead. And but yeah, so usually, as we said, we use Overlander, and we'll look for a camp first, so we know where we're going to sleep, and then go from there near hotspots.
Yeah, usually we drive off, and then Abigail starts searching a place where we could overnight or spend some days. And then we see how far we get, and
Google Maps is the navigation that we use.
We usually use Google Maps. It has worked pretty well, with a few exceptions. I think Guatemala wasn't that great with Google Maps, but it worked, and never had the need to use any other device or app. Although here in Central America, people use Waze. It's another app, and
no, we haven't tried it yet.
No, we haven't tried it. So Google Maps for the most part.
We like the offline option because we don't always have internet.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
So tell me about the offline. We haven't really figured that out yet. And we'll be using Google, and then all of a sudden we don't have service for like 2 days.
Yes, yeah, that happens a lot. So you can download maps on Google Maps. It's called offline maps. If you go into your settings in your Google Map app, you can download whatever country you're in. You can download a certain part region, and and then you don't need internet to navigate. Obviously, it doesn't have live updates of traffic or whatever, but it will get you there wherever you are without a signal. So that's pretty handy.
Okay. Lisa, Google offline maps.
Copy that.
And what are you guys using for like internet service, Wi-Fi? I know Central South America seems to have a lot better cell phone or Wi-Fi than in the U.S., but what's been your experience?
Yeah, we've not really. Yeah, we found the US a lot more difficult, actually. As
Yeah,
you said.
in remote areas in the West, you run out of signal all the
Yeah,
time.
while camping, we could go a whole week without talking to anybody and communicating, so that was difficult. So we were not really prepared for that. But here in Central America, we just buy a SIM card in each country that we enter, and the Wi-Fi so far has been fantastic, right?
The Wi-Fi, in Mexico, not so much. I remember the Baja California was,
That was pretty non-existent.
yes, there was not much Wi-Fi, and if you had Wi-Fi, it was very slow. But other than that, the cell phone coverage is pretty good throughout the whole of Central America, and we just pop in a new SIM card in each country, and we're good to go.
And if we really need it, we will go to a campsite or park at a hotel where they offer fast Wi-Fi. So.
Yes, for uploading a video or downloading some movies of Netflix or
Yeah, makes sense. And then do you guys use like an inReach or a Spot for emergency communication if needed?
Yes, we have an inReach, Garmin inReach, and that's
Have you ever used it?
And
Yes, we have.
well,
Yeah?
yes,
Okay.
we have used it. It would have come handy and saved the day, but not to communicate as such for us, but for other people to kind
Where
of
we are.
follow us and see. The incident we're talking about is as we crossed into Mexico from the U.S. We had some trouble on the border and we got detained. So we were gone for 2 days and locked up and in that time, my buddy Roland from Phoenix, he was following us on our Garmin inReach on the map, and he saw something's wrong. We're not moving. So he contacted the police in what's the town called? Calexico, yeah.
Yes.
So he contacted the police in Calexico, and they went out to look for us and could tell him that we're probably detained. So, and then my buddy rang my dad, and he rang the Swiss embassy, and the ball started rolling. But then 2 days later, we got released, and we could call off the whole search.
But thanks to the inReach, our family and friends could know what was going on.
Exactly. And now every time we cross the border, I tell my family and my buddy Roland, so we're crossing tomorrow, and they will be on the computer and watching us. So
On the tracking system.
yeah, so it comes in handy sometimes.
And the reason for detaining?
Well, so because of the pandemic, we ended up staying longer in the US. We were not feeling comfortable about crossing the border to Mexico just yet, and we didn't want to go home. So we asked for a visa extension. Normally you're only granted 6 months, but we were actually granted a year.
Up on arrival, we were granted 1 year.
Yeah.
So we have 1 year stamped in our passport. So that was good. But then we decided to get a visa extension on top of that. So there's a website on the U.S. immigration, what's it called? Homeland Security, and you can apply for a visa extension. So we did all that, and we had a formal interview in Phoenix, And
we even got our fingerprints taken.
everything. We paid
everything official.
Yeah, we paid $600 for the extension, and then they said, okay,
Whoa.
it's all good. You can stay here, and it is, you will hear from us. So
they said you can stay in the country
Yes.
while it is pending. You are
Exactly.
legally allowed to stay, and you will hear from us via mail in the post. So we
Exactly.
had our friends in Phoenix as an address.
Yeah. So we never heard back from them. We researched, and we learned that it could take up to a year or 7 months or whatever, a crazy amount of time to hear back from them. Okay, so we figured we're safe, right? So yeah, but they don't even put it in the system unless it's granted or denied, and so it was pending, and then we exited the U.S. like 5 months after the 5 months into the extension. We filed for like a 6-month extension, so we left in time, so like a month ahead, and thought we were safe. And and then the problem was, it would have been all fine, well and dandy, but we crossed into Mexico, and the Mexicans said, well, we can't give you a tip for the vehicle here because you have a truck camper, which is not an RV, and your vehicle is too heavy. So we can't give you a tip. And we said, wait a minute, we need a tip. We want to go to mainland Mexico after the Baja California, and what shall we do? So they said, all right, well, you can go back into the U.S. We turn you around and then go to a truck port of entry here in Calexico, Mexicali, and they will give you one. You need special permission from the aduana. So
Turned around.
Yeah, we turned around, and then that raised lots of red flags on the American side. So they pulled us over for secondary inspection, and they took our passports, and then about an hour later they came back and handcuffed me and detained us all, and locked us up for 2 days without even explaining. We couldn't make a phone call, nothing, and they were not very nice to us.
They separated us, so
Yeah.
men and women were separated.
Oh, yeah.
Luckily, I had Zoe, who was 2 at the time, and she could stay with me. But no explanations given. We were not allowed to talk to them unless they, summoned us in the middle of the night.
Well, it was quite frightening, and they threatened us to deport us, so we could never come back to the U.S. and take away our vehicle with everything, and we would not see anything ever again. So
they'd already towed our camper.
that was
Oh my
impounded.
gosh.
And they were threatening just to send us on a flight, and we would never even see our camper. We had nothing with us because we were not even allowed to take some spare clothes. We had to wear the same clothes for 2 days.
That was horrible. And they told us our visa extension got denied.
So they lied to us.
Yeah, which wasn't the case. So after like almost 2 days, I kind of put my foot down and said, well, if you keep telling us it got denied, you have to tell us when it got denied, because we never heard back from them. And then they looked into it for the first time after like 40 hours. And then the next day I overheard them talking, and they said, oh, it actually is still pending. So I got up and said, did I hear that properly? And they had to release us. So yeah, they had to release us, and we were like free again, but
at a cost. We had to spend nearly $1,000 to release our camper.
The impound for the truck camper was $1,000 to get the truck back,
and we had to pay for a motel because it was a Saturday when they released us.
Yeah, well, that was the least, but anyway.
Well, I know, but the towing company was closed at the weekend, so we had to wait till Monday.
It was bad, but yeah, we got free, and but then we had to cross into Mexico again. So
do it all again.
Imagine how we felt about that, going back to that same border.
We want to go to Baja, but I don't know about it now.
Well, actually...
Well, you're American, so that's
easier. But our recommendation to all those travelers with truck campers is do not do the paperwork for a truck camper until you're in La Paz on the Baja for the permit, because you don't have to have that permit on the Baja. So it's not like a free zone.
It's like a free zone to Baja California. We knew that, but we just wanted to get it sorted, and I didn't think that turning around at the border is a bad idea. I would say that's something one should never do. And we then crossed into the Baja California the next time, like 3 days later, and we didn't say anything about a tip. We just drove into Mexico, got the visa sorted, and drove away from the border, and then sorted out the tip in La Paz 3 months later when But that also for us, it meant like we didn't know whether we would be trapped on the Baja California now forever.
Because we're still seen as heavy.
Yeah.
They don't always grant it. So
no, we heard reports that they would not give you a tip in La Paz either. And we couldn't go back to the States, they told us. And that would have been a problem. But anyway, 3 months later, we were on at that ferry terminal and asked for a tip. And the guy said, well, it is a problem. That's true. But we can ask the aduana people if they give you a special permission for an overweight vehicle, it should be fine. And we did that, and they gave us the permission right away, and we were on the boat sailing over to Mazatlan.
Jumping up and down with joy.
Oh yeah, that was the best day ever.
Oh, no kidding. What's the weight that they consider to be overweight? What's their limit?
3.5 metric tons.
Okay.
And I don't know that some people say they interpret the law the wrong way at the border, but they take the GW whatever it is, like the maximum payload off the truck, and then that number obviously is more than 3.5 tons. It's like, I don't know, 6 tons or whatever, and that number is too high for them, and it only involves the bigger trucks like the 250s and 350s, and sometimes they don't say anything, so it's a bit of
They told us in the past it's special permission.
Yes, we had to get special permission
from the customs
for an overweight vehicle. Mm-hmm. But we did it again, like half a year later. We extended the visa in Mexico, so we drove to the Guatemalan border and asked for an extension. They said, we don't do extensions. So they said, we need to go to Guatemala. I said, well, is there any other way we could do that right here? Because we want to stay a little longer here in Mexico. They said, okay. It costs $50 for each of you, but cash. So we said, all right, that's okay with us. We did that, and then we had to go through the whole thing again with the tips. So we had to get special permission again, and so it is a thing with the truck camper. That doesn't involve any RVs or anything, but just the truck campers is considered a vehicle and is too heavy. So, but it's doable. We did it twice, so yeah.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. And don't turn around on the border.
Don't turn around on the border. I'm so sorry for your experience there. So regardless of the border, if we sent you a magic genie tomorrow, anything you'd change about your current setup?
Yes, I would love to have an outdoor kitchen, like a fold-down table, a drawer with all the gear, and a sink, and my grill. Oh, I would love that.
Just magic it.
Oh, yeah. An outdoor kitchen.
And I would like an outdoor shower, because those beach days are a nightmare. Not one grain of sand is allowed in our camper. I'm married to a Swiss. And so we have a little faucet outside, but you just waste so much water trying to get your foot under the tap. And so an outdoor shower would be lovely. Maybe we buy one with a hose or something.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So if you guys have the indoor bathroom, is that always working for you? Do you ever have to do anything different?
To save water, we shower a lot at campgrounds or sometimes even in a river or a lake. But no, the bathroom works fine.
Yeah, we've never had a problem. You have to start putting your toilet paper in a a bin in the rubbish, like that's something we stopped, because obviously you've got the special toilet paper that can go in the toilet in the US, right? So that's something that changed. I mean, that matters to people, right?
Yep.
But yeah, with the water, if we're really running low, sometimes I just
a river will do.
Yeah, or a cup from our drinking water, and I'll just wash it in the sink, wash my hair in the sink. Yeah.
And what are a couple places that really resonated with you, along with a little detail on what made them so special?
Well, we both agree Antigua, Guatemala, right? Because we actually, some traveler friends of ours call us the stayers, because we tend to just, extend on visas, and if we love a place, stay longer.
And we usually come back to places and revisit. We make friends, so we want to go back and hang out with them. So, but yeah, I think Antigua, as Abigail said, is one of those places that we could even live there, I think.
Yeah, the climate is perfect. It cools down at night. It's nice and sunny in the day. In the dry season, you obviously have the rain season, so it rains a lot, but in the dry season,
there's a lot to do there. You have volcanoes around you, and it's like an hour and a half drive to the nearest beach. That was perfect. Guatemala, Antigua, Guatemala is one of those places.
It's a colonial town, so there's lots of ruins from, they had some earthquakes, and the ruins are sort of still left as they were. And there's lots of chic cafes and restaurants and cobbled streets. It's such a beautiful town, very touristy. But the reason why we kept returning was because we met some friends on a beach who live in Antigua.
Yep.
And through them, just stores started to open.
Oh, yeah.
They had a friend who had a coffee plantation, so we had a private tour around there. And then they had another friend who has an international school, and he had a daycare, and he was like, if you want to drop Zoe off at this daycare, just drop by tomorrow if you want. And
so we did?
We did. And it was the first time she'd ever been without mommy and daddy.
Yeah, she turned 3 in March, and the very next day we dropped her off for 2 hours at the daycare, and when we came back, asked her, do you want to go again tomorrow? She said, yes. So we did that for like 2 weeks. And
she learned a bit of Spanish. And it was just really a special place for us. Yeah. And if we were to settle down anywhere, we would probably go back there, right?
For a while,
I'm a primary teacher, and there are a few international schools, so we already have contacts for that. So.
Yeah, there's 2 schools,
And the volcanoes that Richie mentioned, there's one called Acatenango, where you climb up and you see its neighbor erupt every 15 minutes.
Fuego,
Fuego.
That's spectacular.
That is probably our top highlight of this trip.
Yes.
To go and camp there in a tent at night and just see this spectacle every 15 minutes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So amazing,
Yeah, you had me at coffee already.
Oh, yes. And the coffee is good, obviously.
Then you add a fiery volcano into it. Holy smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And as we learned, the coffee grows really well because you're surrounded by all these volcanoes. And around Antigua, there are 4 volcanoes.
Yeah, and it's at an elevation of 1,500 meters, which is about 4,500 feet, is it? Yeah. And that's perfect for coffee growing. Yeah. So, yeah.
And there were so many cafes.
We watched that on your YouTube last night. That was really good. So for anybody that's interested, their YouTube channel is really good and very entertaining at the same time.
Oh, thank you.
I was concerned about those 2 guys going through the coffee, I don't know, not the plantation, but wherever they dry the beans with 2 big fire extinguishers. I was hoping there was not a big fire.
No,
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember that, but no, that was just on the coffee mill, right?
Yeah, wherever it is they dry the coffee beans.
Yeah, where they dry them. Yeah, I remember those two guys with the two fire extinguishers. No, they were just fixing stuff, and no fire.
We don't want any fires in the coffee place.
No.
And what is the number one biggest challenge you've had to overcome on the road?
Well, we kind of touched on that.
Apart from being in jail for 2 nights.
Yeah, getting out of jail. That was the number one.
That's gotta be it.
Yeah, there has been a few other smaller challenges, shall we say. It still evolves around people with uniforms. I mean.
We're quite scared of those.
Yeah, the Mexican police can be a little pain sometimes.
They're quite corrupt with their bribes.
Yeah, they pull you over at times and blatantly ask for money, and tell you that it's not allowed to have tinted windows, or you have to print your car insurance, whatever, and then you kind of have to negotiate or wait it out a few hours until they let you go. That can be a challenge, especially when it happens 3 times in 2 days, which it did with us once. But, it was like in the whole almost a year we spent in Mexico, it probably happened 5 or 6 times. But every time you see the police, your heart goes
a little faster.
Yeah, a little faster, and you go like, oh, not again. Yeah.
So any tips on safety on the road and things that you do to keep your family safe?
We don't really flash our valuables. Richie is a photographer, so he has quite a few lenses and cameras, and he tends to carry them around in a supermarket bag, a shopping bag, so it doesn't look, like he's got anything valuable in there. Yep. So that's good. On the dashboard, we don't keep anything to be seen.
Yeah, we lock everything up. I have a box that I can lock inside the vehicle. I also have a safe where we can keep something. It's hidden. Then
we carry our passports on us at all times.
We carry our passports and credit cards at all times, even if we go to the beach or we have it on us.
And then we sort of have a rule not to arrive at camp at dark, because more so really for driving at dark is more dangerous with potholes.
Oh yeah, I mean driving in Central America at night can be dangerous because the roads are not in good shape and people not necessarily have the lights on and stuff like that. But yeah, we don't always follow that rule.
Because sometimes you get stuck in traffic.
You get stuck in traffic. I mean, Guatemala was one of those countries where, Google Maps tells you, okay, it takes 3 hours to get there, but actually it takes you 6 hours because of horrendous traffic and stuff like that. And we pull over and have a drink sometimes and eat something and talk to people, and then we don't really care so much about time and then arrive in the dark again. But we tend to not drive at night, of course, but it happens.
And we don't, if we're wild camping, we won't ever leave anything outside.
Sure.
Because we hear that they're opportunists, so they'll even take your shoes.
Yeah, but we never had anything stolen, actually.
It's touch wood.
And but we did hear from other overlanders that things get stolen, and,
especially in Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, we know about 3 people that stuff got stolen, and So.
Some friends the other day, they just went to go and check out a wild camp, so they literally left their car for 5 minutes just to go and
on the beach.
Yeah, on the beach, just to go check it out, see whether it was level enough, things like that. And they got back, and their phones were stolen, credit cards, and they're from Holland, they're from the Netherlands, so they have things to deal with that at the moment.
Yeah.
Do you plan personal time separate from each other, or how are you managing your sanity?
Yeah, we're not very good at that, are we?
No,
with our daily rhythm, Zoe and I tend to go out in the morning and make use of our surroundings. We'll go and play and explore, and he will just sort of remain in the camper, catch up on YouTube videos or photos. And so that's sort of personal time for him. He finds that quite therapeutic.
Well, I like fishing.
Yeah.
When I take myself off for fishing, that's my alone time.
For me, it's a little bit harder because I'm very much with Zoe. Obviously, when she goes to sleep, then I find that as a bit of me time. But if we are by a lake or in the sea, I love to swim. So I'm like, right, Richie, I'm off. You play with Zoe, I'm off.
Yes.
So, and then I can physically remove myself.
Yeah. But we don't schedule that, or
No.
we just.
I think we could do a lot more. I think.
Yeah, but it's fine. We love each other.
That's good. For as long as you've been on the road, that's obvious, right? Or it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is hard when it rains for like 2 days, and you can't leave the camper. That's when it gets a little, but yeah, those days are rare. So yeah, we tend to be outdoors.
And the last time it really rained nonstop for a whole weekend, we were actually staying at a hostel. So Zoe and I just went into the hostel and hung out with all the backpackers there. And Richie stayed in the camper. I felt like actually people at the hostel didn't even know I was married and I had a husband because they never saw me.
It's awesome.
Yes.
He's taking care of the buckets of water because we were having some leaking.
Oh yeah, it leaked in the camper. So it was raining really hard. It was in Nicaragua. Yeah, for 2 or 3 days. It was a tropical depression, and oh man, and the camper started leaking.
Yeah, we've used a lot of silicone.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So do you guys work on the road, or how are you financing your travels?
Yeah, we're living off savings still, so we worked really hard. I mean, you earn quite well in Switzerland, so we were both working really hard, and we had planned this trip 3 years prior to the trip, so we really buckled down and saved. So we're fortunate enough still to be living off the savings. We are trying with our YouTube channel to maybe in the long run earn a little bit of money that way.
Well, that's, that probably doesn't pay for much. But anyway, that's not our goal. But for now we're living off our savings. And I'm a photographer. I used to have a little sidekick. I had a photo studio at home. Obviously, that doesn't work anymore. But I have a website. I sell photos, fine art pictures.
We've actually just been, somebody from the Netherlands just emailed us.
From Norway, I sold some
Norway,
pictures. Yeah, exactly. But, that's very slow too. So, but maybe over time, I could do more with selling photos or whatever. But for now, we're still living off our savings.
Our goal is we have enough money to sort of get us hopefully to Ushuaia. And that is our goal. And we think that unless some miracle happens, we'll have to go back to work.
Exactly. We'll figure it out.
There you
We're
go.
just enjoying life at the moment.
Yeah.
As you should.
Try not to think
it's
about
amazing.
it.
Yeah. So to give people an idea of what to expect, can you give us an idea of what your average monthly cost is?
Sure. Well, that's pretty...
It changes with different people, right?
We have a pretty steady, like say, we spend about $100 a day on average, maybe a little less, but it comes up to about $3,000 a month. But we eat,
splash out on meat.
we eat, we cook a lot. We eat a lot of meat, which is expensive. We drink beer and wine, and other people save a little more on food. But and we would not, we spend probably a little more than the average overlander. But yeah, I'd say about $100 a day is a safe bet. You could do it with maybe 60 or 70, but that covers everything, like everything, even our websites, the hosting, everything. $100 a day, that's about a realistic number. And you hear other overlanders, they give you like $50 a day number, but then they exclude the diesel or everything
That's
combined.
covering absolutely everything.
Everything,
the last drop of
Yeah,
water.
exactly. So that's us.
Yeah. And we
If
we
it
don't eat out too often, but we actually think like there are some overlanders that will go out and eat, and actually that sometimes it costs less, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, that's a little tip.
Yeah.
If you're in Mexico,
Mhm.
it's cheaper to go out for
A
breakfast,
taco.
lunch, and dinner than to go grocery shopping and cook yourself. So in Mexico, but that's Mexico.
How
Yeah.
crazy is that?
Yeah, Mexico is pretty cheap, but in the other countries, restaurants are a bit more pricey. But yeah,
Well, I like the idea not having to cook.
yeah, go to Mexico, and the food is great. So absolutely,
Yeah.
fantastic.
If you like rice and beans, and Central America is for you.
Yeah, but in Mexico, you can have tacos of all shapes and forms, filled with whatever your heart desires, and it's good. It's cheap and good.
That's awesome. So what's a favorite story of yours or an experience that you've had so far on the road?
A favorite story? Probably when Richie crashed his drone.
Oh yeah, we have a few drone stories. Yeah.
We were on the Baja Peninsula, and he rarely gets up before sunrise. And on the day he decided to get up and fly his drone over the Bay of Conception, he crash landed it in the sea. So it was a goner. And, well, that's actually awful.
Yeah, that was.
But the good thing that came out of it is I went for a swim to try and find it. I mean, we don't have a snorkeling set, which would have been good. But as I was trying to find it, 2 schools of dolphins swam under and over me.
And
a
pilot
group
whales.
of pilot whales.
Oh yeah.
So that was definitely memorable.
Oh, that's cool.
When trying to find the drone, yeah.
Yeah, there's some other drone stories. Once we lost it in Idaho. We were driving, and Abigail was driving. I was I was riding shotgun, flying the drone, and so we were driving about 5 or 6 miles, and then the battery warning came on, and I said, "Oh, I want to fly some more." So I deleted the warning and flew some more, and then the last warning was like, "No more warnings, pal. I'm going to fly back to where I started." And then it dawned on me, man, it's going to go home to its home point, which is like 6 miles away from here. So,
So we ended up just reversing.
obviously the drone was faster, and we had to turn around and drive all the way back. And there it was lying
Oh,
on the
no
road.
way.
Wow.
Luckily, no one drove over it. That was
Yeah,
a lucky escape.
yeah, that was funny story.
That's awesome. So, if anything, what underscores your faith in humanity or the human spirit over the last 1,000 days?
Well, it's definitely the people we meet.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, they've been hospitable in every single country. We're
Yes.
now in Costa Rica, and just last weekend we went to go and wild camp on a beach because it's relatively safe to do so in Costa Rica, and it's allowed. And then this guy pulls up on his bike, and he's like, "Hey, I just live there. I have water, electricity, Wi-Fi. Why don't you just park on my property?"
Yeah.
We were like,
That's awesome. So we said, "Oh, thanks so much. Are you sure?" They said, "Yeah, of course. Come on over." So yeah, 4 days later, we
became good friends.
we became very good friends. We went fishing with his boat and had parties with his neighbors, and it was an awesome time. So,
And that was just after going into an English bookshop in San Jose, the capital, and the guy's like, "Why don't you come stay at my house?" And then he takes off for Peru the next day.
yeah,
He's
he leaves us his key. Says, "I'm off to Peru. I live part-time in Lima, but here's my key. Just lock up when you leave and give the key to the neighbor." So wow, the neighbor comes over, says,
Oh my
"Well,
gosh.
I'll take over here," and he shows us his ranch, his
brother's strawberry farm
Yes,
and coffee farm.
and it was just
It's like a snowball effect of
absolutely
goodness.
crazy, and that happens in every country.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It happened in the U.S., it happened in Mexico, and it happens everywhere. It's wonderful.
And that's the great thing about overlanding, because you have no reservations. Like, this is the first time in 2.5 years that we've slept in an Airbnb.
Yeah.
We never do that. And
Nope.
we're glad we don't, because we love our bed and we can just park up where we want.
Oh yeah,
And
very flexible.
We're there ready and waiting for these encounters.
Yeah. So no, it's the people, and that's what is traveling all about. It's meeting different people from all walks of life, and yeah.
And that's why we meet around the world, not just about meet, but meeting.
Yeah, and
people.
we're okay. We're pretty outgoing people anyway, so that helps.
Yes, it does. Have you guys spent any time volunteering or doing any humanitarian work?
Yeah, we did. It was actually meat related.
Yes, of course.
Oh, perfect.
Great, because that's our passion. So we met two girls who work for a charity called Mountaintop Promises. We met them randomly in a supermarket in Guatemala, and they work with malnourished families. And we just, after a few chats on social media, after meeting them, we came up with the idea together that we would roast a whole hog over a spit and feed a village, just to sort of give them a banquet for a day, because these families are eating packets of chips for dinner, because that's more affordable than buying some eggs and some meat. And so they probably never eaten anything more than chicken in their whole entire lives, and chicken is also seen.
Well, they
as
definitely never
expensive.
saw a whole hog
Yeah.
on the fire, which was awesome.
Yeah. So one day we just spent the day there. Richie and some other traveling friends, Dino Adventures, were with us, and
we met up with our German friends, and I asked them, "Would you be interested in doing that?" And they said, "Of course." So we wanted to make it from soup to nuts. So we went to find pigs on farms. So we went into town, and it was a small town somewhere in rural Guatemala, and asked a few butchers if we could get a pig alive. And after like three butcher stores, we found somebody who was willing to drive with us to some farms, and we picked 2 pigs, and we bought them off the farmer and brought them back in a pickup, and we slaughtered them ourselves, and we prepared everything, made a little the smaller pig. We roasted that for ourselves and some friends around the camp, and just to see if we can how we are going to do that. It was a trial, yeah.
The guinea pig test.
And then 2 days later, we drove up to that village and did a bigger pig and fed a whole village.
And no joke, there was nothing left. Basically they came back for seconds, thirds, and fourths.
Oh yeah.
And then we had like eyeballs and
the eyeballs left and bones, and even those were gone.
Oh, like the teenagers would say, like teenage girls would say, "I'll have it, I'll eat it." Like it was such a treat for them. And
and it was good. It was a wonderful experience for everybody, and
And Zoe and I got to go to some of the homes and have a look around and see how they live, and also go to the clinic that they offer once every 2 weeks. They weigh the babies and make up formula for them, because the mums are so malnourished that they can't produce their own breast milk. So it was just.
We'd love to repeat something like that one day, of course.
Yeah,
and
kind of said we'd like to do this in every country we go to.
Yeah. It's fun for everybody. Yeah, sharing meat.
Have a big party.
As the Mexicans say, sharing food makes it taste better. And it's true.
So after all the experiences that you've had over the last 1,000 days, everything you've learned, everything you've experienced, for those that are listening right now and either contemplating, should I do this, or they have a dream of wanting to do it, what would be your message to them for something to really think about and to learn from?
Well, we would just definitely say go now. Don't even wait. I mean, if you can afford it, of course, if you've got some means to pay for, your cost of living. We initially wanted to go 6 months later, and we're so glad we didn't, because we would have been trapped in Switzerland because of the pandemic.
Yeah, you can't
true.
foresee that
Yes.
anyway. Yeah,
And-
but yeah, I mean, it doesn't take that much money, if you can go only for half a year or a year. If that's your dream, do it now rather than later. Don't save everything until you're like retired, free, or don't have kids, and that moment will probably never come. That the ideal moment is what I'm trying to say will probably never come.
Some people wait till their kids have finished school,
Yeah.
and we have enjoyed the opportunity to spend every minute that we can with Zoe.
Yeah, that actually has been a blessing in disguise. We took off with a baby, and it opened so many doors, and it has been truly wonderful for me as a father anyway to spend all this time 24/7 with my daughter. This has actually been,
And we think she's
perfect.
more of an icebreaker.
She's been a nice break too.
Because
Yeah.
especially in Mexico, the Mexicans dote on kids. Family is so important there. So
Yep.
we'd be at the beach, and half an hour later, a family would invite us to come have a picnic with them. And because they're just, they see Zoe first, and
Mhm.
that has been
Yeah.
a real icebreaker. Yeah.
Yeah, especially that even, we thought about that, and especially when you have young kids, that's an ideal time to go do something like that, travel the world. It's fantastic.
All right, well, let's wrap it up with some fun facts about you. What keeps the co-driver occupied during those long drives?
Well, obviously we have a child in the back who doesn't like those long drives so much. So if she's not sleeping, then I'm entertaining her, reading her stories. We play games. So we're doing that. And then when she's asleep, that's when we'll knuckle down and do our blog writing. Because obviously I don't have too much time in the day to catch up on things like that. So I simply use an app on my phone called Notes, and that's where we write the blogs. And then obviously later Richie will put in all the photos to go with those blogs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a favorite drink in the morning?
Favorite drink in the morning? That'd be coffee for both of us. Yeah,
For sure. We are
at
coffee
least
lovers.
2 cups.
And is that just black? Or are you adding anything special to it?
Me, it's a shot of milk.
And I have it black, no sugar.
So with your limited space, doing coffee, or you use it, like we ended up just using a French press. How do you guys make your coffee?
Yeah, we have, I think it's called a mocha pot, where you put it
sure.
on the stove. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
One of those.
we've actually bought it into our Airbnb now because we love it so much.
Yeah,
Nice.
and we've just recently we've been given a
yeah.
Costa Rican coffee machine, which is very cool. It's very simple. It's like a drip coffee. It's like a wooden contraption where you hang something that looks like a
Well, it looks like a condom.
or a sock, yeah, and you hang it up and put some coffee powder in it. Underneath, you put your coffee mug, and then you just pour hot water through it,
coffee, yeah.
and you have your coffee. It's very simple
And it
beautiful.
actually tastes
Really good.
amazing.
It's like a drip coffee. It's really good. So yeah, we have options now.
Options are good.
And the favorite beverage at night to wind down?
It's definitely wine for me. I'm not a beer drinker. I'm not into other liqueurs and stuff, but a good glass of white wine, definitely.
And I love beer, so I drink beer.
Any specific kind? Do you like lagers, IPAs?
I'm a lager kind of guy, so yeah, lager.
And a favorite recipe or meal you enjoy making?
And I hope that includes something on the grill.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that would be a ribeye. Boneless, bone-in, tomahawk, no matter. That's my favorite cut.
Well, it's a favorite for all of us.
Yes.
Even Zoe will
Even-
gnaw
oh.
on on the bone.
And for Zoe, it has to have a bone. She loves chewing on the bone. So yeah, a ribeye.
And we usually serve it with like a pasta with a tomato sauce.
Yeah,
That's
something
kind of
like that.
Family favorite, like a Napoli sauce.
Yeah.
Nice and simple.
Medium rare.
It's
Oh
perfect.
my gosh, I'm salivating.
I'm hungry now.
How can people learn more about you? Like, give us your website, your YouTube, social media. What are the best places for people to connect with you?
All right, we have a website. That's www.meetaroundtheworld.com. We post like once a month on average. We post an article with some photos about each country, depending on how long we are there. A few or just one article, and we do YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. It's called the Meet Around the World Show, where we show a little bit about our travels, and we show a little about grilling meat, some meat hacks, and how we prepare meals at our camp. And we have Instagram at meetaround_the_world. So these are the three main.
Yeah. If you're into reading blog posts, our blog posts are in both English and German.
Yes, they are.
Perfect. Thank you guys for your time. It has been a lot of fun to chat, and we learned a lot about not doing U-turns at border crossings.
Oh, yeah.
That is our one big message.
Yeah.
Actually, we should tell our 10-year former self that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us. It's been fun, and we wanted to thank you for all your good work with this podcast. It helped us a lot during our time of preparation for this trip, and I could hardly wait for the next episode to come out each time. I was a truck driver, so I was listening to lots of podcasts, but yours was my favorite.
Yeah, and in my school
Thank
holidays, I would sometimes go trucking with Richie, and we would listen to it together, and I can't believe that 3.5 years later, we're actually
That is awesome.
appearing on one of your shows. So that is just a dream come true.
Yeah,
that we
thank
make
you.
this happen for you guys.
Yeah, you're welcome, and thank you. That's very, very nice. So we will, I just lost my train of thought. I don't know that we've got a compliment like that before, so it's
I
really
know.
cool.
We're a little, our eyes are a little watery.
Oh, well, they should be, because you know,
No,
even
that's
your
true. I mean,
even your
yeah.
questions that you formulated, it's just so informative for
Very
people
much
like
so.
us.
It's so interesting to see what other overlanders do and how they're set up, and it's so interesting.
Yep, we've learned a lot as well, and we are enjoying being on the road. And so just a final thank you. We really appreciate you guys. We've learned a lot from you over the last couple of days watching your YouTube channel. Definitely we've enjoyed seeing your post on Instagram for quite some time. And 1,000 days on the road, that is crazy. Good for you guys, and doing it with your daughter Zoe. That is just amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
You too. Bye.